Welcome to another edition of Ethan Ranting. I decided to pick a tarot card at random and just discuss that. The card that came to was the High Priestess. As soon as I pulled this card, I thought, fuck. How on earth am I going to describe the High Priestess? Now, I don't mean to sound intentionally mysterious or anything when I say that there is a lot of information packed into this card that I don't have the time or understanding to expound on. Basically, this card refers to the moon. And the moon in occult symbolism generally means the female receptive side of nature, or nature, the observed, the physical manifestation, the subconscious mind. This card, however, references not only the moon, it references the Hebrew letter Gimel, which means camel. It also, along with the rest of the Thoth Tarot deck, refers to the Kabbalah, or Kabbalah, and has all sorts of spellings, and the official pronunciation is unknown because the original Hebrew that it was studied in has transformed and or been lost. So we have here the High Priestess, which runs down the middle pillar of the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. The Tree of Life being 32 paths, or more simply put, 10 spheres connected by 22 paths, all of which are elements of nature which describe every possible noun, verb, adjective in the universe and how they relate to each other. The middle pillar is the center of the Tree of Life. I guess you could call it the trunk. Its balance, its unification of opposites, it is the path of the magician in Kabbalistic terms is the path of the serpent, or something along those lines, whereas the magician attempts to master all of the, you could call them, supernatural powers of the human body. They sort of take the long route to enlightenment in that they want to be masters of everything, whereas the Buddhists go directly up the middle pillar, as most of their practices are simply turning inward and witnessing what is arising and passing away. So, in the Kabbalah there are 4 worlds. This is both mystical or occult Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism. There are 4 worlds which pass from one into the other, which results in gross matter. And I believe it was Hermeticists or medieval philosophers that first took the Kabbalah and transformed it into a medium for occult symbolism. And just like any science, the occult requires a set of symbols appropriate to describe an idea. So we have the periodic table, we have mathematics, we have Kabbalah, and we have occult symbolism. And these 4 worlds were associated by the Hermeticists with the 4 elements: fire, water, air, and earth. in my limited understanding, fire is the will, it's the spark of life, it's the original breath of life, in that it was the impulse or the force or the charge or the pressure or the tension that made the original entity, the universe, expand so that it could become two and witness itself. Hence duality. So first there was fire, and from fire came water. The elemental, this is where I get mixed up. I'm not sure if it's the formative world or some other world, but it's the realm of emotion and the realm of the archangels, the original forces, fire and water. Fire and water interacted again in some hazy way that I'm not well studied on, and they became air, which is the intellect, the beginnings of our experience as humans, in that air is the reasoning mind, air is the intellect, air is the ideas, it's the formulas, it's the symbolism that holds our world together. You can't have a chair and understand that it's a chair without understanding all the principles of a chair, being elevation, stability, support, and so forth. So, once you have air, you have the idea, then it can be manifested in the physical world, earth, gross matter. It's also referred to. It also refers to money, finances, wealth, work. And this card is a pretty picture of the whole system of Kabbalistic thought. And the colors are just so beautiful and psychedelic, especially for a card that was painted in the 40s. At the top we have, it looks like the sun and the moon conjoined on top of the High Priestess's head. And then we have these waves that are emanating down from the top of the card, almost like they're beads drooping off of her headdress, those spikes that come out to the side. And her arms are upstretched, and there's whirling multicolors that also weave into these emanations from the beginning, or from the top. And then we have her holding a giant web which spans the width of the card between two pillars that can barely be seen on the edges of the card, which I associate with Indra's net. Looks like you can actually see her clam if you look hard enough. Indra's net is in Hindu philosophy or mysticism, whatever. It's I've always seen it as a sort of metaphor of individual perspectives. It's this net, and every conjunction of the net, every crossing of the net has a bead, and every bead reflects every other bead in the net to infinity. And here you have the infinite complex, or the infinite web-like structure of the universe. I'm kind of losing it here. From one bead you can see all the other beads, and one bead, to all appearances, is a reflection, or presents a reflection of all other beads in this web of space and time. So the cosmonaut, or not cosmonaut, the psychonaut, the dream weaver, can travel through this web and experience different perspectives and different realities. And that's not meant to sound mystical. It's really not hard to do. Changing your perspective. I mean, if you have any sense at all, you know what you like and you know what you don't like, and you move towards what you like, and the journey of life takes place through this net, which is also, I suppose, the intellectual realm, or the archetypal realm, where ideas spring forth into matter. So as you travel along this net, at any particular place on the net, what you see is the material world. You see all these flowers and crystals and fruits, and there's a camel in the center at the very bottom there. That is the material world. And the symbolism in this card is almost inexhaustible, and I don't claim to understand it. Some of what I could be saying might be flat out contradictory to typical understanding of the card. But when I selected a card at random, I was hoping I could pick an easy one. Knight of Wands, or something that, you know, I could have some kind of firm foundation and I could know what I was talking about. And of course I get the Priestess, which is an extremely mysterious card. This is directly from the Book of Thoth. The card represents the most spiritual form of Isis, the Eternal Virgin, the Artemis of the Greeks. She is clothed only in the luminous veil of light. It is important for high initiation to regard light not as the perfect manifestation of the Eternal Spirit, but rather as the veil which hides that spirit. It does so all the more effectively because of its incomparably dazzling brilliance. The tradition of the best schools in Hindu mysticism has a precise parallelism. The final obstacle to full enlightenment is exactly this vision of formless effulgence. Thus she is light and the body of light. She is the truth behind the veil of light. She is the soul of light. Upon her knees is the bow of Artemis, which is also a musical instrument, for she is huntress and hunts by enchantment. Now regard this idea as from behind the veil of light, the third veil of the original nothing. This light is the menstruum of manifestation, the goddess Nuith, the possibility of form. This first and most spiritual manifestation of the feminine takes to itself a masculine correlative by formulating in itself any geometrical point from which to contemplate possibility. This virginal goddess is then potentially the goddess of fertility. She is the idea behind all form. As soon as the influence of the triad descends below the abyss, there is the completion of the concrete idea. The following chapter of the Book of Lies, so falsely called, may assist the student to understand this doctrine by dint of meditation. In the wind of the mind arises the turbulence called I. It breaks down shower the barren thoughts. All life is choked. This desert is the abyss wherein is the universe. The stars are but thistles in that waste. Yet this desert is but one spot accursed in a world of bliss. Now and again travelers cross the desert. They come from the great sea. Into the great sea they go. And as they go, they spill water. One day they will irrigate the desert till it flower. See, 5 footprints of a camel. V, 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 V. For the classical description of the abyss, the student should consult Liber 418, the vision and the voice, especially the 10th ether, the Equinox, Volume 1, Number 5 supplement. The vision and the voice is also available on hermetic.com/Crowley. At the bottom of the card accordingly are shown nascent forms, whorls, crystals, seeds, pods, embodying the beginnings of life. In the midst is the camel, which is mentioned in the chapter quoted above. In this card is the one link between the archetypal and formative worlds. That's it. Archetypal is water and formative is air. Archetypal preceding formative. And again, I've got a lot to learn about this. Thus far concerning this path, considered as issuing downwards from the crown, but to the aspirant, that is, to the adept who is already in Tiferet, to him who has attained to the knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel, this is the path which leads upwards. And this card, in one system entitled the Priestess of the Silver Star, is symbolic of the thought, or rather of the intelligible radiance of that angel. It is, in short, a symbol of the highest initiation. Now it is a condition of initiation that its keys are to be communicated by those who possess them to all true aspirants. This card is thus very peculiarly a glyph of the work of the AA. Some idea of the formula is given in this other chapter of the Book of Lives. The oyster. The brothers of the AA are one with the mother of the child. The many is as adorable to the one as the one is to the many. This is the love of these. Creation, parturition is the bliss of the one. Coition, dissolution is the bliss of the many. The all, thus interwoven of these, is bliss. Naught is beyond bliss. The man delights in uniting with the woman in parting from the child. The brothers of the AA are women, the aspirants to AA are men. It is important to reflect that this card is wholly feminine, wholly virginal, for it represents the influence and the means of manifestation, or from below, of attainment in itself. It represents possibility in its second stage without any beginning of consummation. It is especially to be observed that the three consecutive letters Gimel, Daleth, and He, which are also Atu 2, 3, and 17, being the High Priestess, the Empress, and the Star, I think, show the feminine symbol Yin in three forms composing a triune goddess. This trinity is immediately followed by the three corresponding and complementary fathers, Val, Zedi, Yod, Atu 4, 5, and 9, being the Emperor, the Hierophant, and the Hermit. The trumps 0 and 1 are hermaphrodite, or hermaphrodite. The remaining 14 trumps represent these primordial quintessences of being in conjunction, function, or manifestation. So I hope that interested you. I doubt it explained much, but if anything, that should wet your whistle enough to return to the Thoth Tarot and investigate it for yourself. It is a very interesting deck of cards. Thank you for listening. Until next time.